Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters. Today I'm going to show you step by step I feel probably the best way of memorizing the Quran on your own, unless you have teachers, of course, that is another option, which is also very good. This is similar to how I memorized the Quran, but had I had some of these abilities and access to some of these apps 30 years ago, I would not have taken maybe 30 years, but I'm not regretting it because that was the process that I had to go through and come step by step to where I finished. So the number one thing for me when I started memorizing the Quran was, it was not about memorization. For me, it was about to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It was even, I didn't have intention to memorize. I had come to Islam. I knew after embracing all these religions, this was the right religion. So I wanted to know Allah. And the only way I knew I could know Allah is through his book. So I read several times the Quran from one end to another to just have an idea what this book was all about. So when I had the idea, then I wanted to really digest what is in there. So just reading it once, when you read it two times, even 10 times, you come across ayahs that it seems like you've not seen it before. Even some scholars say that, Quran, every time you read it, just something new comes to your mind. So I wanted to understand it, digest it, and live it. And in order to do that, I had to understand the meaning of it from Arabic to English. So at the time, 30 years ago, I only had one Quran. My Muslim community, my books, my research, everything I had was just one Quran. That's all I had. English, Arabic. So I would put numbers on top of corresponding words and I would put them on 3x5 cards and I would memorize them. And at the same time, I was starting to memorize the smaller surahs. Again, at that time, my intention was not the memorization. The memorization came the more I memorized these surahs, the words and everything, the more I got anxious that I want to know everything is in the Quran. So I decided I'm going to memorize. And for me, it was no choice but to know every word that is in Arabic, to know the meaning of it, and then to know the overall meaning of that ayah. Not only that, I would read, a few years later, I had access to tafsir books, and I would read tafsir. And I'm not sure how many years, maybe 3 years or so, or 4 years after I started memorizing, someone gave me a CD of Sheikh Al-Husari, and this was the best help that I could possibly have. And that has stayed with me for 30 years. So I'm going to share with you here now how you can go step by step to implement learning the word by word, ayah by ayah, meaning, and then tafsir you have to do on your own. Of course, on Surah Al-Kahf, I'd already given, I made 10 videos explaining the Surah Al-Kahf that you can find in my YouTube channel or in the Raya's memorizing group. Those are available. So I'll be using Surah Al-Kahf as an example, but this is just an example. You can use that for any surah. The things that I'm going to show you, you can use it for anything. Please be ready, be all ears, eyes, attention, because of course this is video, you can watch it again and again. So let's start with this app, which is Quran word by word. It says Quran w.com. I would put the link to this and the other app that I'm going to talk about, Quran Explorer, in the description below the video. So there are going to be some very important information. So when you're finished with this video, click the description, drop down, and take a look at these links and some other information I will put for you, inshallah. So here's the first one I would like to share with you. So we start with A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. And we come to this app. We start with the word, understanding the word by word, the pronunciation of the word and the meaning of the word. So we're this first one.
Alhamdu.
So alhamdu, when we hear it, we repeat it several times. Alhamdu. Make sure you're pronouncing the ha correctly. It's not a ha. There are two ways of pronunciation, but I'm not giving you a tajweed lesson. But you hear it and pronounce it several times, but it's best for each repetition, you also say the meaning. Alhamdu is all praise.
Alhamdu.
Alhamdu, all praise. It's up to you how many times you would like to repeat. Just repeat as many times as you need to get it. Then you go to the next one.
Lillahi.
Lillahi. It's not Allah, it's lillahi. Just take a look at the meaning. For Allah. For Allah. Then we go again, repeat as many times as you would like, 5 times, 10 times. This is about your process, not somebody else telling you how much to repeat, because this is what's the good thing about self-pace. You see it, the app is there, the option is in your hands, how many times. You do what works for you until you get it. So you go word by word.
Alladhi.
Alladhi. For example, this is one of those letters that people may say allazi. It is alladhi. You put your tongue between your teeth. You will have to take classes on makharij, and how to pronounce the letters properly. And you really should do that before you attempt to memorize. If you memorize incorrectly, then what's going to happen is you're going to remember it incorrect way, and then later it's difficult to change. So you go word by word until you finish the first ayah, and then you listen to the ayah itself. Here, you say, play this ayah.
Alhamdulillahi alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitaba wa lam yaj'al lahu 'iwaja.
So you can repeat this as many times as you want, but I'm going to take you to the next app that is much easier to keep repeating and keep listening. And this one, it has the option of play on repeat, but this is not as user-friendly as the other app or on Explorer that I'm going to show you next. But you can still do that here. But if you play this ayah, you're doing it one time. So you keep going and click. Maybe this would be difficult. The whole idea with this app is you understand the meaning word by word, that you understand the ayah, and then I will take you to the next app. But of course here, I also recommend while you're here, you also listen to the translation. So it goes up.
All praise is due to Allah, who has sent down upon his servant the book, and has not made therein any deviance.
Okay, you play with this, whatever works for you. But again, word by word, you memorize, understand the meaning, you understand the proper pronunciation, understand the ayah, and then let's go to the next app, inshallah. But this Quran Explorer, I will put the link, and it's really easy to remember, quranexplorer.com. When you click on it from even Google, you find it. When you click on it, this is what comes up. It is giving you offers, different offers, which one. When I click on Quran Explorer Classic, I cannot access the different options. So I had to click on Quran Explorer. It's also mobile friendly. So what I get is this. starts with Surah Al-Fatiha. I mean, of course, you can have anything that you want. You can see up here. Please pay attention to see how easy it is. You click on it, you just choose whatever you want. We want to go on the number 18 because right now we're doing Surah Al-Kahf, number 18. This is what comes up, Surah Al-Kahf. So what do? You have choice. Do you want to listen to each ayah one time? Or one, I'm sorry, here it says from verse. Let's say you want to listen to from verse 1 to verse 3. Ayah 1 to ayah 3. And from verse 3, I'm sorry, we want to go from verse 1 to verse 3. So then all of a sudden everything else goes away. We're just looking at this. This is, of course, after you've already finished memorizing verse 1, ayah 1, ayah 2, then ayah 3. Then you want to hear the repetition. Okay, I will come through this again. So Osmani, script Osmani is the best one because it corresponds with Osmani mushafs, but most of us have. So the end of the page of this corresponds to the end of the page of the Osmani mushaf that you have in your hand, if that's what you study. And then Sheikh Husari is definitely my #1 choice because Sheikh Husari was the first Sheikh Quran teacher that has various recitations of the Quran, but one of them he recites very slowly, and it is called Mu'allim, the teacher. And I had a CD of that, my Stone Age, somebody gave me the CD of that, and I was able to repeat, which was like a dream come true for me. And it's very slow. I didn't have a tajweed teacher. I didn't have somebody to follow. I didn't have somebody to repeat after. So listening to him and repeating after him was for me, it was incredible. One thing else I like to tell you, try to sound like him. Try to sound like him. Alhamdulillah alladhi أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. I can just say Alhamdulillah alladhi and read it correctly, but I'm just reading it. Try to read in such a way that you enjoy hearing your own voice. You're not doing this for a show. You're not doing this to repeat for other people. In fact, I would not recite it in front of men. I would recite it in front of sisters. Excuse me. This is mint tea. Very good for the throat. So try, as you're learning with Sheikh Husari, try to sound like him. For me, to sound like him and to remember the meaning, memorize the verse, it was like I'm doing 3 things at the same time. So some of these ayahs I had to repeat between 100 to 150 times. It's unbelievable, I know. But I was not suffering. It was not like somebody didn't tell me to do this. Nobody even knew. Anybody that knows me up until just last year when I finished, I think nobody knew that I was even memorizing the Quran. It's nobody's business. It was between me and Allah. So if it takes 100 times to remember, let it take 100 times. Because when you're repeating each time, you're not a tape recorder. You're repeating with these words and meanings going into your heart, into your soul. So imagine, by the time you finish memorizing one surah, your mind, body, and soul has incorporated this surah all the way everywhere. So the fact that I finished memorizing the Quran, it doesn't mean that you ask me, say, Raya, just start reciting Surah An-Nur from the beginning to end, and I'm going to start saying it without remembering, without forgetting anything. That's not true. There's no one that memorized the Quran without forgetting it. So me at the age 74, naturally, I have forgotten a lot. But one thing I can say for sure, all of the Quran has been embedded into my soul, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. When I hear an ayah, when I hear recitation from the Quran somewhere, I know what this ayah is about, what surah it is, what is going to be talking about, what is the next word he's going to say. Sometimes maybe I don't remember the next word, but I remember what it is like. It is inseparable from our soul once we memorize in this kind of intensity. So that's why I'm not really so interested to encourage people to hurry up and finish. Some people finish the Quran in 2 years, they're younger, they can do it. And that's also great because this is like an asset that stays with them most likely the rest of their lives when they're younger. For me, that was not my purpose. So if you are, many of you are following me on Facebook, on YouTube, and have been inspired because of my sharing and want to follow what I'm doing. And this is a humbling experience. I am not an expert teacher. You know, don't look at me as somebody who has all these ijazas and, you know, with incredible background of certificates and everything else. You know, yeah, I do have 4 years of Islamic studies, 4 years of Arabic studies and Tajweed studies. I studied all of those rules later on. But I feel the reason why you have come to me, you want to memorize with me, is because something has inspired you. I have received literally maybe thousands of messages of people thanking me for being inspired. They're inspired and they're starting to memorize. So then I'm going to show you my way, and this is slow, but take your time. You're a mother, you're a father, you have a family. Do it when you can, but set a schedule. Mine was usually every morning I walked in nature somewhere. When I was in Northern California, I was in nature somewhere. I will go to the forest. I would go someplace where nobody was around. Here in Malaysia, I go by the sea, I go to the rainforest. And if not, I'm in the house, just if I'm walking, I'm exercising, in the kitchen, everywhere. My laptop went at the time. Then when I had the mobile, my mobile went with me by listening. Once I got the sound of it, and I was able to repeat it, mobile radiation no longer followed me. I had these Qurans, 30 juz, each one is 1 juz. They were large, and that's what I carried with me everywhere. I do not like to have radiation follow me everywhere because this is very dangerous. It hurts us more than it benefits us. Anyway, that's another point. Okay, so here we have come here, Dr. Mohsen, repeat each verse. You can repeat here, it says 10 times because this is a laptop variation. If you have a mobile, you can repeat 100 times. You can repeat, it's like unlimited times, repeat. And range, repeat. What is a range? Range, I would say 2 times because the range is from 1 to 3. This is the range, 1 to 3. Do you want this to be repeated 2 times? You want to repeat it 30 times? You're walking around the house, you're hearing the same 3 verses again and again. And this is what is going to help you remember. You play with these things so that you can see what would work for you. Then you have continuous play. You have duration of each verse, duration of current verse. Look, if you have, I'm not showing this on mobile, you can have incredible amount of options. And then wait, you can wait 1 second between surahs. 10, this again, it says 10 seconds, but with the mobile option, you can say 1 ayah, half an ayah. 1 ayah, that means it gives you enough time to repeat the ayah, recite the ayah, and then it would recite the next one, then you repeat it for half an ayah. So this is an incredible work app that I cannot recommend anything better than this. However, this app is limited. I think when you upload it for free, I think it's like 30 joules you can use. All of them you can use, but there's limitations of the options that you can use. That means you have to pay, and it's really cheap. Several years ago when I bought it, was $7 at that time. Now I don't know how much it is. Once you purchase it, you can put it in all your computers, your mobile, on all your devices. This is really well worth, and they deserve. These people have created this app. They deserve at least to get paid very small amount. So please purchase it and try it free and see how far you can go. But you really need all these options that I just mentioned to you. And so I'm going to play it so you can just also hear his voice.
الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا.
Okay, so you heard his sound. You see he's slow, but you can actually make his recitation even slower. He would go so slow, or he could go faster. Once you have memorized it, you can have him go faster. Again, you have this option on the mobile. Definitely you would benefit. You can adjust it any way you want. I don't think you can have a sheikh that would let you do that to them. Sheikh, recite slower than that. You were fast. Sheikh, recite faster than they would take stick and beat you. So get out of here. Anyway, alhamdulillah, this is really good. By the way, the translation here, you can see, you see my mouse. You can go like this. You don't have to have the translation. If you want the translation, you can open it up. Again, translation, try to understand the translation before you start memorizing. So by the time you are starting to memorize this whole ayah, you already know what it means. If you need to hear the translation each time, it's okay, but it would interfere with your concentration on the memorization. So you memorize word by word, memorize the translation. So when you're saying, Alhamdulillah alladhi, you know exactly what it means. So you know the entire ayah meaning, and you have already read the tafsir. Again, I would be putting up the link to the videos that I have posted that explains the tafsir, and you can also read the tafsir anywhere you like. Make sure you understand the background. I went through, for Surah Al-Kahf, through all the stories in much detail over 5-week periods. So I suggest you go down to either to my YouTube, you'll find it there, to our channel, to our group, Raya's memorizing group. If you have not joined yet, that link also is down below where the description is. You can watch the video, you can hear complete information about all the stories, and even the first 3 verses. I had a whole section just on the first 3 verses that I will also put up. So please, this is just Surah Al-Kahf. For every surah you're going to be memorizing, use the same system, word by word, ayah by ayah, then come to Quran Explorer, and then you have no excuse not to memorize. Really, even if you don't have time, you're a busy mom, have it, play this Quran Explorer while you're doing your daily work. But please do not put the Quran on when you're talking with other people, you're engaged in other things, or watching TV or doing something, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered us that when we hear the Quran, we have to be quiet. So we want to respect the Quran, and I'm wishing you really the very best. Don't take 30 years. But again, I started in the Stone Age, but honestly, the first 15, 16 years, I would say even almost 20 years, I was on a very slow pace. But the past, after the 20 years, even 25 years, I was going much faster. I could do 1 or 2 pages, sometimes 3 pages per week. This is how fast I had become, because I was just rolling, with this. So inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you the ability to memorize, actually understand, incorporate, internalize, and memorize the word of Allah and live by it. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.